Joseph W. Brady has important announcements regarding the High Desert Quality of Life Survey Final Strategy presentation.
Terry, this message is to the roughly 525 people that we keep in our high desert database that are commercial brokers. So they could be commercial industrial office brokers. They could be somebody that hasn't done a deal up here in 10 years. They could be somebody from out of the area that has a sign up here. So the one thing that we have done for 30 years, I drive the valley all the time. And if I see a new sign, we put it in the database, we welcome that person, we send them our listings, we share our stuff, and we also share the good, bad, and the ugly. Well, at the end of the day, I'm inviting 525. You're going to get a link on your email to something very, very special. Further, in a couple minutes, I'll be explaining the High Desert Survey and where we've gone. But this is a plea to all of our fellow commercial, industrial, office, and land brokers throughout the region, and some of the major players that are operating on up here. You know, we have Don Brown with Lee, and we have John Conley with CPI Capital, Manny Mastati with NAI, Jason Lamro with Cole Banker, myself. We've got Bruce Callan over at First Team. We got some great people on up here. And while we compete, the one thing we need to compete with and we need to focus our time in is how do we improve where we live, work, and play, and prepare ourselves to bring in the next generation of leaders and the next generation of brokers. We can't keep doing this for all of our lives. But the survey, I think, is intended to say, you know, we've made it this far, we've all made it this far, while we've competed and competed hard, that's okay. It's now, where do we go for the next 20 years? And I really would ask you to give an hour and a half or 2 hours of your time on Sunday, October 4th at 11 o'clock. Go to highdeserthigsurvey.com. They'll send you a link. We just sent out an invitation to a whole bunch of people, but there were 2 groups in particular that I wanted to be sure were personally invited, and that was Diane Smith and her great staff, the High Desert Association, Realtors, and MLS, and then our great group at the High Desert Association, the High Desert Commercial Brokers. We don't really have a name. Don Brown has a group. We used to meet with monthly. We now do Zoom meetings, and we bring our own lunch. Please tune in. Go to www.highdesertsurvey.com. Sign up on Sunday, October 4th at approximately 11 o'clock in the morning. I will lead off the survey results that we raised $80,000, almost $80,000, for probably 20 minutes, and then I'll be joined by Dr. Barbara Sorotnick at Cal State San Bernardino with the Applied Research Department, and then with Dr. John Husing. And a lot of what they're going to talk about has a huge impact on real estate and what we can do to make the High Desert a better place to live, work, and play. So we are a go for Sunday morning, October 4th, 2020 at 11 o'clock. For those that want to sign up, you go to www.highdesertsurvey.com, so HIGH. But to make things easier, we this week, with the help of Nikki and with Taylor, I said to them, I've been kind of a pack rat of data. We have about 134,000 names in 290 categories. So I went through and I took a look at the 290 categories the other day, and I checked off enough categories. You know, take high desert accountants and high desert attorneys and high desert commercial brokers and VIPs and chamber members. While we're not a member of the chambers anymore, we still have a lot of data for chambers. So as I went through and I kind of checked off back when we were pretty involved, we came up with about 34,000 names. So we use MailChimp, and MailChimp is a company kind of like Constant Contact. So when you load it up, the way I understand, you kind of load it up and you tee it up. They go through and they knocked out about 3,000 that they knew the emails were not correct at all. We sent that email out kind of alerting people that something was going to come. Needless did I know that they used my email address as the bounce back address. So I got to hear from 200 people yesterday that I haven't heard from, Terry. I mean, some of them would shock you. People that you and I know, they go way back, you know, that they, hey, thanks for what's going on. We want to be a part of this. So, yeah, all systems are go. Dr. Husing will record out of his home down in the Redlands. I was on the phone with Dr. Sorotnick last night. She's ready. So she's going to do her interview from her husband's office. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think that the biggest issue we'll now take a look at after October 4th is where are the leaders in the high desert going to come from that now want to take the valley to the next place. So I'm going to say something, Terry, that some people are going to find probably not very popular, okay? I'm an elected official, okay? I work with 4 other great trustees. I work with 855 employees at the college, and then I have a certain responsibility. We have a lot of elected officials up here. So we have 5 city councils, we have water districts, we have CSAs, we have park and recs and all that. I think that if we look at where we are today, and we look at leadership in some of the groups that we're in, whether it be chambers and all that, I don't think that we as leaders should be really proud of where we are today. Forget COVID. COVID's an excuse, but where we are with the crime issues that we're dealing with, the lack of an uneducated workforce. We as elected officials and leaders, chamber leaders, school leaders, government leaders, directors in the city, we all need to sit down and say, okay, we need to reflect and say, where are we at? We had a bunch of sponsors that helped us raise, I think it was $77,400. I'm going to give you the list. You can put them on down. I mean, I'm incredibly grateful to every one of these. I mean, from Wesley over at the Holiday Inn and John Rader at Barstow Hospital, all the way up to John O'Haney and Tapestry and Ted Alejandre and Craig Garrett and Dr. Nair and Ken Shear. Randall Lewis, Richard Lewis, and Bob Martin Lewis Operating. When I called them, they all recognize that there's an issue up here. So I know that there are only a few politicians that did not like the fact of the survey. There was one in particular at the Board of Supervisors. I won't name who it was, but you can figure out there's 2 that oversee our area that did not support this. This is our problem. And if we want to grow and we want to go to the next level, which there's no doubt in my mind that we can, now's the time that we got to come together. But this is all about where we go in the future. I think there's a whole lot of pie out there for all of us. So hopefully we can all cooperate and do some great things and set a tone for generations to come.